we're using a new iPad, so I'm trying to see if it actually works right now because this is our first time using it, and we'll see. Although, yeah, we're over here at the desk. If you've been watching, we've been over at the couch lately, but now we're back here at the desk. And, much to Aspen's consternation, everything she does, well, looks fine. I guess. It'll work. This from the person who's supposed to make everything perfect and make everything, yes, the camera looks great. Oh, the picture, everything's beautiful. We get started like, yeah, you're all right.
But that might be a lie. She's just telling us the truth.
But before you go on camera, you're supposed to build up your talent. You're like, yes, this is going to be great. Yes, you look awesome. Everything's wonderful. She's like, whatever. Yeah, it might work.
It's working. They can see us. They can hear us.
We don't know that yet. So while I check this out, Miranda will now entertain you with tales of wonder and fascination.
I'm not entertaining anyone with tales of wonder and fascination.
Oh, no, it is working, yes.
I'm not. Oh, look at us.
So
see,
I'm going to share.
Working.
Yes.
And see, I can look at that picture and say, wow, we look great. You know why? Because she didn't build us up.
She didn't build us up. Oh,
so anything at all is going to be, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll see. Anyway, so we are working, we are on, so we can continue and go right into today's message, which is all about
Brett Hadley.
All about something. So, first of all, I get to vent a little because we were at Sabbath school and
Hey, wait. Now, you sure you want to say this? Because I have no idea what he's going to say.
Yeah, we were at Sabbath school, and they were going on, going along. And the Sabbath school teacher at one point, he's talking about in the third angel, or the first angel's message, and three angels, and it's like the day was hour has come. And how do we know the hour has come, right? And he's looking at it, Brett, the hour has come. How do we know the hour? Because, see, I spent months preparing charts at the demand and behest of the good people of my Sabbath school. Please show us the charts in your head that show the timelines and the dates of events and things. And at the end I was saying, see, this is all to show that God gave you these things so we would know the time, the season. He says, I'm going to tell you things before they happen, so when they do happen, you'll remember. Jesus told us, and this is showing us the timing of where everything's at, and this is how we know. And talks about the day and hour of time. And so he asked this question, and as a proud teacher, I was ready for my star pupils to answer his question easily. What happened, Miranda?
Silence. Finally, you had one person answer.
One person. I wanted anybody to say something, and finally one person did. But everybody, I was like, he looked at me and was like, you see, this is teaching. This is what teaching is like.
Yeah, but overall, it was a relatively silent class today.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet.
I don't know why. Just one of those days.
Yeah, it is pretty quiet class.
Plenty of times we have some pretty decent discussion and such, but
yeah. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we're studying Revelation in our Sabbath school, and it's interesting. It can be fun, and we've talked about this before here on SALT. Just like when I would teach at an academy, and sometimes you hear sermons on it, or a series or something. You all want to do Revelation. Oh, let's do Revelation. And it's I keep telling my students every time there's like, look, we're going to talk about Revelation. Yes, we're going to talk about time charts and things and lions and tigers and bears and beasts and dragons. But that's not the point, right? And it's easy to get caught up in the drama of Revelation, all the dramatic things and everything, and also the timing, and it wasn't so much. I don't know how it was now. A little bit back when I was in academy, more so in the 70s and early 80s, I guess, where it was more of I want to know. I did have one student. I was going to say, I want to know when the end's coming, so I know I can change things if I have to. And I did, out of the however many years I taught academy, I did have one student actually say the words, I want to know when it's almost time so I can change.
Yeah, but honestly, like if there was one person that said it, how many other people might be like thinking it? But you know, you don't say it. Well, yeah.
I was just pretty taken aback that someone actually said it out loud. Meaningful. It wasn't even in class. It was to me. It was sort of like after class, and they were just like, and this is my plan, you know. And I was like, well, we should talk about that. But yeah, the idea of like, oh, I'll know just before probation closes, and then I can change.
Yeah. It's a little bit like the 10 virgins. The 5 who were ready and the 5 who weren't ready.
Yes, it's a lot like that. Yeah, the 5 were, you know, and they were all, I guess, you know, they had the relationship, they were ready, and then the other 5 were like, you know, not ready to, you know, be prepared, and they were caught unawares, and I don't know. Miranda, do you have any stories about being caught unawares?
Caught unawares?
Yeah, like, I was just thinking, like, when you said the virgins, I was thinking, like, caught not being prepared for something.
I'm sure. Well, go ahead and tell your story then. I'd have to think.
Because I think we've all had similar experience of being not prepared for something.
Yeah, I'm sure I've been not prepared a number of times. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was once it was Alaska, of course, and oh my goodness, it was so like to get a nice enough day on Kodiak Island to wear a pair of shorts and a summer shirt without a jacket or pants or, I mean, you know, was really, really rare. Oh. Well,
was it really always that cold?
Oh yeah.
Year round?
Yeah, Wow. Yeah. So it was a summer day, and we lived about 10 miles out of town, and the sky was blue, and it was a lovely, lovely day outside. And so I dressed all of the kids in shorts, and we all went to town in shorts and little short sleeve t-shirts. And we got to town, and it was like super overcast, like a low clouds down, kind of foggy and cold. Wow. It was cold, and I felt so horrible. I felt like people were like looking at me and judging me that I'm taking my kids out in nothing, you know, when they should have been wearing something warmer. Yeah, I was definitely caught unprepared for that one.
Really? What was the average summer temperature?
I mean, even 65 would have been considered a pretty warm day.
Really?
Yeah, you weren't going to get too much hotter than that for the most part.
Did you get a lot of wind?
Yeah, there was plenty of wind as well.
Well, that would make it colder too.
Yeah.
Feel colder anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know Kodiak was that cold.
Yeah, probably high 50s.
Yeah.
You'd count on that. Oh. Yeah.
I have a story.
Yeah, Aspen has a story. Well, come around. Aspen's going to share her being caught unaware story. Let's see. Who's got more room on their side, Mommy or me?
Oh, I thought she was going to join us in the middle.
Oh yeah, come around the middle. Here, and ladies and gentlemen, Aspen caught unaware.
Well, now I feel caught unaware. So it was freshman year, first semester, end of the year, or end of the semester.
Okay.
Yes, world geography class. And we're having a great time. And we're just finishing it, and we're looking at all these countries in South America, specifically the islands.
And let's just, this was an online school.
Yes, it was an online school.
Oh.
Yes.
And you said, where's Toronto?
No. So, and he asked me a question about a certain country, and he's like, your country's Jamaica. Now go find such and such out about Jamaica. And I was like, okay. And so I found it out, and he was like, cool, that's your country for the presentation. And I was like, okay. And then class ended, and I went on with my life. I did.
As one does.
Yeah. Then the school day ended, and I went on with life.
As one does.
And then the next day was the last day of school.
And you were going on with your life.
Yeah, and they had like a little Christmas party.
Yay.
So we all hopped onto that Zoom meeting to play the Christmas party games and such. And then I had not that class next, I had a different class. And then I went to world geography. And he goes on and on about the presentations. What presentations?
Yeah.
I know of no presentations.
What presentation is this?
Yes. So I had no presentation. What did I know about Kingston, Jamaica? Nothing.
That it was nowhere near Toronto.
Yes. So He spent like the first 5 minutes of class like telling us how to make a presentation, and then he asked for people's presentations. So I let like 2 people go, and I sat there and I created an entire like 5-slide presentation on Kingston, Jamaica.
Ah.
Yeah, with tons of different information. Like some things that I didn't even need to put in there. Like, did you know that they have the 7-something beach? It's like the 7-yard beach.
The 7-yard beach.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
I don't know if it's yards. It might be something else.
The 7-inch beach.
Yeah. 7-mile beach. I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah, it might be the 7-mile beach. This is a while ago. But
I'd like to talk about the 7-foot beach in Jamaica.
Kingston, Jamaica.
Kingston, yes.
Yeah, well, their biggest exports is like basalt.
Basalt.
Yes.
For like putting on eggs and things.
No, that is different.
That's salt.
No, basalt.
That's like, give me basalt.
No, that's the salt.
Oh, the salt.
Yes.
Oh.
This is basalt.
Basalt. Ah,
Yes.
Gotcha. Different.
Yeah, and lots of agriculture, and I created a whole little presentation about it. And then I went on, and do you know what he said after my presentation?
You were supposed to do Canada.
No.
No.
He said that it was the best presentation of the day and that I did such a good job and everybody else should do it like I did.
I actually think I remember this.
Yeah.
I do remember this.
Yeah.
And the lesson here is?
Be like Aspen.
Yeah, those 10 virgins, boy, they had it all wrong.
They had it all wrong. They had it. Oh my gosh. Aspen gives Aspen's advice for successful academic. Okay, well, I wasn't going to share because the 2 stories were probably good, but since Aspen shared that one, I must share this one because like daughter, like father.
Well, that's nice. I'm the one who has a...
You get the straight A's. Aspen and I forget everything.
Well, yeah, but I took my kids without any warm clothes.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I should have known better.
You should have known better.
But, yeah.
No, it was the end of the semester, my second semester, my freshman year. Yeah. And we ended up on Comp 102, the last essay for Comp 102, it used to be at Southern. It was a very special one where you would write an essay and they would give it to 3 different English professors, and they would all grade it. And you got the average, whatever the 3 grades were. So it was a big deal in the semester. And somehow I completely forgot about it. And the day I woke up, I was there, and I don't know how it came up in the course of my day, but somebody eventually said something, and I remembered. And class was in like an hour. I really had like an hour to write this essay. You know, the 3 teachers were going to, I'm like, oh my word. And so I sat down and I wrote an essay just as fast as I could. And it was probably thanks to Mr. Johnson. He was the one that taught me this kind of basic outline for how to write papers at Academy. Anyway, I wrote it and turned it in. You know, I think I wrote it in like 40 minutes because I had to get it, you know, rewritten, typed, and then turn in. So I had like 40 minutes to write it. And yeah, sure enough, I ended up coming back, had the highest graded had ever gotten on one of those. And actually, I had 100, 100, and I had 199. And just out of curiosity, I went to the teacher and said, what did I get knocked off for 1 point? And he said, nothing, it's just no one gets 3 100s. And I'm like, what? Why not? You know, is it nobody? 99. I was very ticked.
Yeah, well, okay, so I don't think your story and Aspen's illustrate what you were talking about.
No, they don't. You shouldn't put things off.
Being
ready.
Being unprepared. But you know what, we could say that you and Aspen would then represent righteousness by faith.
Yeah.
By accepting, well, I don't know if we call your things the good works of God, but you know.
The Lord decided He didn't want me to fail, and so He blessed me with inspiration.
And so I mean, yeah.
No, I was going to say very similar to your story. I went to San Francisco once when I was living in Sacramento, and Sacramento was hot, and I had on the t-shirt and shorts, and I went down to San Francisco and froze to death, and it was July, and because of those who've been there, you live in California, you know, like Mark Twain said, the coldest winter he ever spent was the summer he spent in San Francisco.
Well, it's because he hadn't been to Alaska.
I hadn't been to Alaska, that's true. But it can get really cold in the middle of summer in San Francisco. And so I was there freezing to death, and everybody was looking at me strange, like, well, here's an idiot. He doesn't know anything about California. So I was freezing when I should have been more prepared.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I hope my analogy made sense for the first one.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We were actually telling those because back to the revelation about, well, let me know when the end is coming, and then I'll change. And that's all. It comes from a place of fear, kind of being ruled by fear, lived by fear, or guided by fear, like, oh, I'm afraid of the end, or I'm afraid of being lost, so I'll change at the last minute.
Yeah, or it's also a way of living that benefits. We feel as though it's benefiting ourselves because we keep doing what we want to do rather than allowing God to change us. We live out our own words rather than the words of God.
Yeah, I want to do all the fun stuff as long as I can, and then I'll change to the boring stuff so I don't have to. Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of things that people cling on to and hang on to because they don't want to let go of it because of whatever it does for them, addictions really, and it's said, I don't know if it's true, but it's said that everybody has at least one thing that they struggle to give up.
I'm sure that's true. I would think so, Yeah, at least one. I think more people have more than one, but some things stand out more than others.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, when you were talking earlier about the book you were reading it from, the shortness of time thing. So what book is that from?
Lift Him Up.
Okay, Lift Him Up. Lift Him Up. Is that all right, I should know my books and I don't know it. Is that Ellen White?
Mm-hmm.
That's Ellen White, okay. You had this quote. It says, the shortness of time is frequently urged as an incentive for seeking righteousness and making Christ our friend. This should not be the great motive with us, for it savors of selfishness. And just explaining what that means again, because I thought that was important. It savors of self. How does that savor of selfishness?
Because, like what I just said, basically we don't want to give up our way of living and live only God's words.
Right.
We want to continue not giving up the stuff that we want to keep.
And sometimes that stuff we don't want to give up is bad for us or killing us even.
Yeah, but we love it, which reminds me of a news article that I read this last week. Basically, I don't know, you may have heard of David Lynch, a movie director.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, personally, I haven't. Personally, I haven't, but I did read this news article about him. And he's 78 now, and he has emphysema, and I'm sure he's gone to doctor's appointments and such things like that, but basically for the last couple of years he's been at home. Also for the last couple of years he has quit smoking because obviously it is a benefit to him, but I found what he said about smoking very interesting. He said, I have to say that I enjoyed smoking very much, and I do love tobacco, the smell of it, lighting cigarettes on fire, smoking them, and the way he put those words together, I could just feel the love that he had for smoking. He is like a treasure to him. He loved it, and he surely had to know that it wasn't good for him, but he loved it so much that he couldn't give it up or didn't want to give it up. So he didn't, because it didn't seem to be affecting him obviously at that point in time. So
that was a Hollywood thing. Like in his early days, that would have been a big romantic Hollywood thing, was the cigarette. If you look in a lot of black and white films, everyone smoked. And like he's describing, some people smoke because everyone's addicted to nicotine that smokes, right? So nicotine is the big thing. But what you're describing, like that he described, is I've heard other people say that too. It's the whole process of smoking, which they actually capture in movies. They try to get that, and they'll do the match, and they'll do the and the hold the way they hold. They talk about how they hold it and how they, and it's this very romantic, not romantic, like, I don't know the right word for it. Like there's the romantic era. It's more like that. It's more of an art thing, and how they portray it in film. That's what he's talking about. The whole experience of smoking, not just the nicotine.
Yeah, and then so we love our sins like that sometimes, and we don't want to give them up, and we hear the story, like say the rich young ruler or whatever, and Jesus called him specifically and told him specifically what he wanted him to give up, and then come follow me. And yet, he looked at that. He looked at that, and he loved how he lived, and he couldn't see living without it. It made him who he was. I could imagine that, like as you were discussing, the cigarette kind of made him feel like he was who he was.
Yeah, it's part of their persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it's we don't want to give that up.
Yeah, even though it's, in his case, like smoking killing you, but other habits, other addiction, other things, even lifestyle and stuff can be bad for us in ways. Any kind of selfish living is killing something. It may not be physical, it may be emotional, spiritual, relationship.
Yeah.
Any kind of selfishness is slowly eating away at something.
Selfish living destroys any love that we have for other people. It turns that love more into a selfish taking rather than giving in a relationship.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And the quote goes on to say, "Is it necessary that the terrors of the day of God should be held before us, that we may be compelled to right action through fear? It ought not to be so. Jesus is attractive. He is full of love, mercy, and compassion." And it goes on to talk about how wonderful a relationship with Jesus is.
Oh,
and so
this all just reminded me of, in just this moment, I don't think we have time for it though, Hell House.
Oh, yeah.
The Hell House story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, you could probably do a quick version of that.
If you don't know what Hell House is, I think they still do it here in Texas, but it's the Baptist church's answer to Halloween ministry. And it got really big in the 90s. And the churches would put on, and it's basically, they do a horror house with a spiritual theme, the religious theme to it. And I heard about it. I didn't know much about it. I heard about it. Well, I had my drama team from Madison Academy. So it's the Adventist Christian Theater drama team. And we have shirts and everything with our logo, Adventist Christian Theater, had their names on. So whenever we go out, I have two things. We have our stage uniform, which when we perform, we wear. And then I have our off-stage uniform, which is usually jeans and a shirt or a pullover with the ACT logo and the back big and everything. So it's Halloween. We're actually in North Carolina, and I thought, hey, let's take them to a Hell House, because we were going to be there over Halloween. And so we did. We went into Asheville, and we went into this Hell House that they'd been putting on, and it was really interesting. This one followed the lives of a little family, and there was a mom, a dad, a son, and a daughter. And the mom and the son were the good people in the family and Christian believers, and the father and the daughter were not. And the daughter, and they take you through these rooms. They put you in a group, and they take you through this house, and then they play these scenes out in the rooms. So you're walking, it's kind of walk-through play. And this one was the girl, the boy was all, "No, don't go out with your boyfriend. I don't like him. He's bad." And she went out with him, and they smoked and they drank, and she got pregnant. And so then, it was the family dealing with that, and the father takes the girl for the abortion, and of course the abortion room looked like something out of, House on Hell Hill or something with, it was horrible. I mean, they had knives and blood going, it was just crazy. And the doctor was yelling at the girl, and anyway, they made it as horrible as they possibly could. And then you walk through the actual, horror house part of it. You walk through hell. The father and daughter go to hell. And so they take you through hell, and that's where they have the monsters and the things jumping out at you and grabbing at you, and it's, this is hell. And then there's, dad and daughter being tortured because, she had sex and got an abortion, and he took her. And then they take you to heaven, and there's mom and the son, and they're happy. And it was really, on a side note, this was North Carolina, so I suppose your talent pool is limited, but Jesus was a very short, stubby Elvis Presley. It was so hard when he came out, my whole team snickered and tried not to laugh. He had the hair and everything. It was like big black hair going, and he had the big collar. They must have used an Elvis Presley costume, the big cape he used to wear, because that's exactly what he was Jesus. And it was just this really strange, he came out, and everybody was, praise Jesus, praise, and he just looked and nodded at everybody and did this and they didn't say anything, that's all he did. And it was just so bad. And then they put us in a room, and the guy comes out, and it was just us. There was my team, and we were like one of 50, and there was like 15 of us, but there was like 50 in the group. And the counselor comes out and says, now you've seen the difference between heaven and hell, and what happens, when you choose Jesus and when you don't choose Jesus. And they were like, so this door here leads to the parking lot. Well, this door here leads to counselors, and somebody will pray with you, and you can be saved for eternity. This door leads to the parking lot where you can go and spend hell for eternity. And then he walks out. It literally is like a 30-second, choose this door and be saved, choose this door, go home and go to hell. And then they walk out and leave you there. So we're all, 50 of us sitting in the room looking at each other, and the entire Adventist Christian Theater team went straight to hell right out the door. And it was quite interesting and entertaining. But the whole idea, the next day they come out with the paper, and the headline is, 20,000 souls saved by Hell House. And it's basically scaring you into heaven. Mm-hmm. That's the entire point of the exercise, is to scare you into heaven, which I don't think that's how it works.
No, because basically we're to serve God because we love him.
Yeah.
Yes. And that actually is a request in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And the will of God being done in heaven, of course, the angels serve God because they love him. And that's the only reason they serve him, is because they love him. And we too then are to serve him in the same way, only because we love him, not because we are afraid of him.
Right, yeah. It came up in Sabbath school. They were trying to do a couple of verses about, fear God and all this. And the point it's trying to make was, it's that you do that, you serve God, or you worship because of love, a relationship, not fear. And so I finally threw out. So I think the text you're looking for is perfect love casts out all fear. And that's what, with the angels and what you're talking about, it's when you have the connection and that relationship, and you get to know Jesus, you get to know God, the closer you get, the love deepens, the love widens, and the righteousness, what we do, righteousness by faith and works, the works come because of the relationship, the works come because of the faith.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Were you going to wrap that up with Asa somehow or other? I wasn't quite sure how you were going to do that.
Oh, and then when we were talking in Sabbath school earlier, I said, we should bring Asa back into this, because I thought the thing about Asa, when we're talking about the prayer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do not let man prevail against you.
Yeah. And your point about it was? Oh,
basically, we talked about this last week, I think, for Salt, but so
Asa, king of Judah.
Right. There was an army that came against Asa and the Israelites, basically, and it was about twice as many people as what he had in his army. And so when he took his army out to meet them, he had a prayer beforehand, and he ended it with, You are our God. Do not let man prevail against you.
Yeah.
And usually as people, we would say, oh God, don't let man prevail against us. Because sometimes we seem to think that we're right, so therefore God is on our side. And because God is big and powerful and he's on our side, he's going to fight for us and we're going to win. But that's not how it is.
Right.
Is we choose God. We choose God, and then he's the one who just entirely goes out and fights for us.
Right. And that's what I thought was this. It's about the, really what God is like, and it's not the fear, it's the love and the connection, and it's about him, not about us. And that's what I thought Asa's prayer is like. I was thinking, all right, Asa got it. When he said it that way, don't let me remember it's you, he got it. It's like, this is you. You're doing this, it's not us. It's not, oh, don't let the armies prevail against me and conquer me and then I'll be humiliated in front of the world. It was like, God, this is all about you. And that's what we're saying in Revelation. Right. It's not fear. It's all about that, this is who God is and what he's like.
And Asa wasn't seeking his own personal glory. He was seeking the glory of God.
Right. Which I thought went well with what we were doing today. So anyway, so hope you've enjoyed the stories. Several stories we didn't intend to tell, but this is what we do here. We tell stories. So thanks for joining us, and hope you had a great Sabbath. We'll be around next week. School's starting. Well, sort of. Next week is colloquium and getting ready for, and then the week after that is, the actual school. But starting to get busy. And but we'll be here continuing on with salt, and we'll see you on Wednesday for a pinch of salt and some little font to pick us up in the middle of the week. So, all right, have a great rest of your Sabbath day.